So what's up, man? How you doing today?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Uh,
Uh, so this is a guy that I run into on Twitter, and he always have some opposition in what I say. But he's always opinionated. He seems to take his research on his players serious. So I just was I thought that it'd be a good chance to talk to him on the channel and just see what his thoughts is. So, how many leagues you in, man?
I think like 15 now.
15. All
Yeah.
dynasty or what?
Nah, I think that's like 8. That's dynasty, and the rest is redraft.
Okay.
But
What's your
I
highest
don't, I
buy-in?
don't, I don't really, I don't really tell people that it's embarrassing outside of the fantasy world.
What?
you know
Why?
that that's not like if I'm talking like I'm not gonna tell my wife how many leagues I'm in. She thinks I
Oh,
spend too much time playing on this
oh
football
no,
thing
oh
anyway,
no,
right?
oh nah, bro. This way on this side is none. We have done but degenerates, man.
Right, exactly.
Like I
Dynasty
don't know how many
degenerates.
leagues I'm in. Like I'm in like when once the redraft season gets started, not
Yes.
including best ball, it could get up to 40. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I
It become
mean,
a grind though.
I think I could. I think I can handle the where I'm at right now. So maybe, but you always want to get to the limit, right? You always want to push past the limit to see, what you can handle. You know what I mean? I try to put too much on my plate, and that way I know if it's too much or not. So I'm looking for some more leagues to get into.
I
But
know. Like I feel like I'm around the sweet spot because when we get in season and I have to actually do the lineups, it gets hectic, man. It gets hectic.
that's why I
So
think a lot of folks is like leaning over the best ball, right? Because you just draft the team and you don't gotta look at it again.
oh yeah, I get my best ball in, bro. I'm gonna get my. That's one thing. I just feel like it's gonna sharpen my skills for redraft. So that's all I do. Best ball, get ready for redraft, and plus it helps you not get into a new league because that's what it is. It be that
Mm.
itch to draft. Why not just knock it out in best
That's a
ball rather
fact.
than jump in another league?
That's a
So
fact. That's a fact.
so what's your fantasy football drafting philosophy? When you attacking dynasty and attacking redraft. So give both of your philosophies.
So for a startup, I think about it like I just try to get the most value as possible, right? But then you, as you know, like you either want to win it all or you want to be on the other end of the spectrum, right? And try to get like the first 2 or 3 picks, or earn the first 2 or 3 picks by having like a terrible team. But I never really know. I don't ever go into a draft like knowing like okay, this is what I'm gonna do, right? I'll have to see how the draft falls. I have to see what type of trades come to me, and then like after maybe the first 2 or 3 picks, then I know like okay, I'm probably gonna need to tank on this one, right? Or like punt year one. Or if I like the way my draft is looking, I'm like okay, this is a really strong draft. I'm gonna try to compete, right? Then like and it's good to understand that by the time you get to rounds like 4, because if Devontae Adams is there in round 4, 5, I might take that, right? Or if Cooper Cup is there at 5 or 6, I might have to take that. And that's gonna those when you put a player like that on your team in the redraft league, you're making a decision in my head to to go for the gold because it's gonna be so hard. And you could say, you know what, you don't have to. You could just accumulate the value and then trade the picks, but it's gonna be so hard to trade those players until like folks actually start putting points on the board. And what if they don't? Right? What I mean? What if, because they are north of 30, coming off of injuries or have like less than ideal situations for producing points. So what if they don't? Right? So you never want to necessarily deal from a place of weakness because you're always gonna have to get the short end of the stick. So once it comes around round 4 or 5, and I see some players that can put up a lot of points, I might take that player, and that's how I know I'm going for the goal.
What about redraft?
Well, I think with redraft, we always trying to win it all, right? Because we only got 1 year to do it, so you can't necessarily approach it like that. But these past couple years, man, I've been leaning zero RB. I've been leaning zero RB, like the first 4 or 5 rounds, or maybe even hero RB. It depends on where I'm landing and who I believe in, right? So last year, I think I was picking up Jamar Chase and like the eighth and ninth pick. If I could get Jamar Chase in the eighth and ninth pick, then I'm probably gonna go zero RB, right? But if who was the guy? Let's say it's Christian McCaffrey or Saquon, they was falling past that, right? And if I'm at the end of if I'm at the turn and I'm at the end and they fall there, and I'll snag one of them, and then I'll just go, wide receiver or quarterback the whole round. I mean, the whole way through until rounds like 5 or 6. So not nothing. The thing is, there's no right or wrong way, right? Everyone's gonna say, okay, well, zero RB or go heavy running back or hero RB or don't draft or late round quarterbacks. Or, it's no right or wrong way. You see people win all different types of ways. And the key is though, you got to pick the best players.
Oh yeah.
No matter what you do, you got to pick the best players. And this is the challenge that we don't necessarily know who those are going to be, right? So I think instead of like figuring out, okay, well, these are the best players that everyone's drafting, and we can identify those players by talent or situation or whatever the case may be. I think in rounds like between rounds like 5 to 10, that's where you win your fantasy league at, right? So I'll go for high upside players there 100% of the time.
Yeah. I think I finally wanted to cross over to the dark side this year, but everybody doing it zero RB this year.
Yeah, it don't work if
So it's
everybody
like
doing it.
now it's like, do I do it? Like,
Yeah, nah, it don't work if everybody doing it. It don't work if
yeah, and,
everybody
and
doing
that's
it.
the deal. Like I love my running backs, but they hurt me so much last year. I'm like, I just can't do it no more. Like I pass
Hmm.
up on running backs all the time now. Dynasty, redraft, it's just best ball, whatever. I would just be looking at them like, I would love to pick you, but you know, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, so like if I draft a running back in the first, that's the thing, right? So you get to a certain point in the draft where you're looking at a player, regardless of their position, you're like, all right, now this is getting out of hand. There's no reason this player should be falling this far, right? Um, and I feel that way with running backs a lot, and it's just like, okay, um, but it's but we're talking about the investment of the high draft capital. So if you're spending your first round pick, you probably don't want to spend it on a guy who's like older or plays a position that's always hurt. So what can you do to kind of offset that or protect yourself or insulate yourself from the risks that come with older players that might fall off a cliff or um, a position that's hurt all the time. So I need to make sure if I draft a running back, I know exactly who their handcuff is going to be. And that handcuff, I'm not going to take him before round 10. So if that handcuff is gone before those double digit rounds, then I'm not going to draft that player, right? So um, when um, when Chris McCaffrey when he was going, right, I could take him in round 1 when he was with the Panthers, right? Because I think at least I thought his his handcuff was going to be um, Chris Hubbard, right? And he's not getting drafted at all. So and he's a good running back, right? He's a solid player, right? When he comes in, if something happens to C-Mac, if C-Mac is giving you 25 points a game or 20 points a game, if Chris Hubbard is getting all the work, he can at least get you 15, right? Especially in like a PPR league or something like that. So I get C-Mac in the first, and then pick up Hubbard in like the 11th or 12th or something like that. Same thing with Dalvin Cook last year; he's going in the first. If you can get Alexander Madison in the 12th, then that's a good investment, right? So that makes sense to me.
So you never heard the theory that you shouldn't get your backup?
Yeah, and this is and here's my issue with that. So the some people look at it as playing not to lose versus playing to win, right? But the thing is like if you lose that first round draft pick, you're there's a good chance you probably aren't going to win. You might make the playoffs, but there's a good chance if that person's a high performer, they're making a difference on your team. If you lose that first round draft pick as running back, you're probably not going to win. So, but if you have their backup, there's a less of a likelihood that you win. The likelihood that you win and that person gets hurt is smaller, but you're not completely out, right? Yeah, you're not completely out versus the other way. So yes, it is a sense of like playing out to lose, but it's again it comes down to where you're making that investment because we're thinking about the opportunity cost, right? Especially in the redraft league. So if but dynasty is different, right? Because dynasty some some teams that are in your league are just like legitimate super teams, right? Some folks don't care about draft capital and they get rid of all their draft capital to get high performing players, and so you can't use that strategy necessarily if you got smaller benches to win it all because their teams are loaded. But in the redraft league, no, I wouldn't spend like okay, so let's say Kenneth Walker's going in the third or fourth round, right? And Zach Charbonnet is going in the seventh or eighth round. That's not what I'm going to do, right? Because the players that I'm going to be passing up, let's say I got Kenneth Walker in the third or fourth round, the players I'm going to be passing up to get Charbonnet at the seventh or eighth round, we just talked about this, in between rounds 5 and 10, that's where you make your, that's how you're going to win your league, right? So you don't want to spend nothing. You don't want to spend a handcuff. You don't want to buy a handcuff player in that range. But if we're talking about the double digits, right, in like rounds 10, 11, 12 in the 12 team league, I don't have a problem. Like you're not. What's the opportunity cost there? It's probably I'm probably if I don't draft that player, I'm probably going to end up drafting somebody I'm going to cut anyway at some point. Like
So I would tell any of my viewers that get in a fab league if you're doing redraft because you can have best of both worlds. You can draft someone else backup, save
hmm
your fab money. So if something happened to your first round player, you can bid the most and get that player.
hmm
And I forgot who was that player. Oh, that was like I think that was like 2 years ago when everybody put 100% of their fab on Elijah Mitchell. I watched that in like every league. Like people was not playing at all, 100% of fab. Whoop,
hmm
and it ended up working out for them. So
But more often than not, it doesn't, right? Because a lot of times we don't necessarily know who that handcuff is going to be unless it's like with the same coach, same system. They did it before the year prior, right? Like we
I
know
mean,
Dalvin Cook.
most teams, you know who their handcuffs are going to be. Like I never ran into that many situations where I had no clue who the backup was going to be. It
See,
said on
that's
the
not what I'm
depth
saying.
chart, you can know who the more talented player. It's not hard. I don't. You'll have to tell me a situation where you were surprised who the backup was.
Uh, I want to say it was in the Steelers.
In the
It
last
was
two
before.
years.
It was
Tell me.
before Najee. Okay, so did you know Jalen Warren was going to be the guy? We thought it
Yeah,
was Benny
for the
Snell.
most
No, we
part.
didn't. Not
For the
going
most
into the
part,
season. Wait, hold on. Wait, going into the season, we never even heard this guy. He was undrafted. He wasn't getting no
I
buzz.
heard everybody. You can't say I haven't heard of him.
Oh
I
my
heard
goodness.
everybody. I
For
my
sure.
if you
Okay,
saw how long my sheets is on my rookies, I heard everybody. But
but give me. I mean, come on now. Like, give me some
I mean, did you
leadway on
think
that.
Snell was?
Well, that was the only guy that we had saw, and then there was this undrafted guy coming in, and we were like,
I
if
would
in
say
the
it was
dynasty
kind of
community,
I would say it was kind of a surprise and it wasn't because everybody picked up Warren. So it was
I,
it was a just surprise, but it wasn't.
okay, so people were not drafting Warren as the handcuff.
That's true. Now
That's
that
what I'm
part
saying,
is true.
because that's what we're talking about,
But
right? We're
I'm
talking about
saying
in the
when
draft, who are
Najee
you
got
gonna
hurt, we knew who the backup was, and that's when I was talking about. Here's your fab budget, spend accordingly. That's what I'm talking
right,
about.
right. Now the thing about that, what's stopping me from bidding on your player's handcuff at that point?
Oh, that's
Like,
why I said keep your fab
I
until you
mean, in
can
a
go
perfect
all
world,
in.
yeah,
You can go all in.
we
But at the end of the day, you know Najee wasn't going to be out the whole season, so you didn't have to even, you didn't have to do that.
right.
But let's be real. Najee ended up being a bad first round pick if you chose him in the first round. He ended up being a bad. He picked it up at like the end of the year, but rough. It was rough most of the season.
Yeah, I don't. I almost said I'm not a fan of Najee, but I am. I'm
Oh, for the
just like,
cost this year, oh, it feels a lot better. It
right.
cost like there's a lot of people that don't like Najee, but you know he's gonna get the work. I'm a Najee fan. I like Najee, but you know a lot of people that
I
don't.
don't love him in Dynasty, but in redraft, if in last year there was a lot of first round talk for him. I just can't get behind that, right? For me to draft a running back, we already know how we feel about running backs, right? But if I do draft you in that first round in the redraft, you literally have to check all the boxes. And people say check all the boxes, but they don't really mean that, right? Because when we think about like literally all the boxes, does he have the size? Can he manage the workload? Um, is he a threat in the passing game? Not just like catching dump offs, but like, can he get downfield? Is the team relying on him to be a viable part of the passing offense? Can he score from anywhere? Right? Does he have the long speed to take it, 40, 60, 80 yards? Um, and I don't think there's probably multiple boxes that Najee doesn't necessarily check on that, right?
But guess
Is
what box he do check? Workload.
the workload? Yeah. as,
They're like,
as I'm
how
talking
many
through it,
workhorses is there in the NFL?
it's not a
Not
lot.
many.
Right. So as I'm talking through, he does check a lot of those boxes. It's just the athleticism, right?
So
It's
if you
not
was in
necessarily
like
there.
if you was in a if you end up in a PP, what is it? Points per carry league, definitely.
Oh yeah,
He the
yeah,
prong, he the one.
yeah. That's he a first round pick. He a first round pick, but
So
that's
what
okay.
we got to talk about rookies,
Let's
So
do it.
because that's what we've been talking about this whole offseason. Me and you been splitting hairs on rookies.
Right.
And so what are your thoughts about this draft class?
I think his draft class is getting a lot of flack. I think and it's unwarranted because I think especially on social media, what we do the like the language we speak on social media is really hyperbole, right? So these guys are all pro, they're the best ever, or they suck, right? And that's how we're talking about this draft class. If it's not the best ever, then it sucks. And we're comparing it to the class of I'm gonna say what was that 2021 maybe with Chase and Waddle and Smitty and all those guys, or even the Justin Jefferson draft, and like how many times do those draft classes come around, right? And I think because we came into the 2023 class thinking that it was going to be a class like that because it failed to meet expectations. Now, like psychologically, we're thinking that the class is terrible, but it's not. It's actually a good class. Like how many classes do four wide receivers go top 40 or top 35 or something like that? It's average. It's not bad. It's average. It's an average class, right? So I think I'm a little higher on the class than most because my expectations were don't get it twisted. My expectations were higher too, but when I look back at it, it's like it's normal, right? It's either the thing about this class, they either lack athleticism or size, and then and that's just like super disappointing because you want that in your wide receiver. It's like so Jordan Addison, he's not a terrible athlete, but he's so damn small. Like you got to be one or the other. You got to pick a struggle. You got to be small or unathletic. You can't be both. And for a guy that's 170 pounds to only run a 4.5, just like ugh, it feels yucky. All right, now he probably would have got picked before JSN had he ran like a low 4.4 or was 180, right? So that's why I loved Marvin Mims. And he just don't get talked about enough. And once he got the draft capital, I'm like thinking, okay, he definitely gonna nope. He still get into like the mid second and rookie drafts or the late second and rookie draft. I saw a draft the other day where he went in the early third, and I just don't understand. Like, what am I missing? What am I missing with Marvin Mims? I'm asking you, Mr. Robinson. What am I missing
Oh,
with Marvin Mims?
you're talking to the wrong person because remember, I was high on
Right.
Marvin Mims. I think he was my wide receiver five, if I'm not mistaken, before the draft.
Hmm.
My wide receiver five. So you talked
I
to the
remember
wrong
talking about that.
person because guess what? I was on another person's show and I brought up Marvin Mims. They said I don't see it, and I looked. I was like,
What you don't
I
see? What
don't
you looking for?
know. I don't know what you don't see because I mean, man sticks out on tape, early declare, young breakout age. You know, he gets yak. I mean, I don't know what you're not seeing. Like,
And athleticism is there too. And he's not big, but he's bigger than the other wide receivers you're drafting ahead of him. Like, why? Like, give me a legitimate reason why Jordan Addison is getting drafted before Marvin Mims.
well, I think he's probably going to a better situation. You know,
Oh yeah,
that's the reason for that. You know, and at the end of the day, once a wide receiver get first round draft capital, bro, that's a wrap. Just is what it is. I mean, even though old boy got second round draft capital, once wide receiver get first round capital, first round they go exalt them up, man. But I love the class, and
you love
then
the class, really?
and then the NFL draft class happened, and I hated it.
Listen,
I was so
um,
hyped about these running backs, and then the NFL draft happened, and oh yeah, you know. So my surprise of the draft was the fucking Charbonnet pick. You know,
right.
I that when I say upset because I was high on Charbonnet, he was my running back three. Well, he was my running back two
He was my
before
running back too.
before the combine. When the combine happened, and old boy blazed the shit out the combine, I said, "Well, you
Right,
know what? I'm gonna respect this man. I'm
right,
gonna
right.
respect this man."
Because not only did he blaze, I
And
said,
then
because
he
this is
got
my
12, was drafted 12th overall. I'm like, you know what? It is
yeah. We
what it
gotta we
is.
gotta make some adjustments. We gotta make some adjustments. So and don't get me wrong, Charbonnet performed well at the combine too. He checked in with the weight. He was a big dude,
Oh
215.
man, yeah,
He
yeah,
ran in the low 4.5s. Like I was like, okay, that's what I wanted to see, right? But then when Jameer Gibbs hit 200 pounds, I'm like, all right,
199.
I didn't think he was 199. I didn't think he was gonna get close to that though. I didn't think he was gonna get close to that.
Yeah,
And not
well,
only
another thing that helped me, he was a little shorter because I
boom,
think
that BMI,
instead of 5'11", 5'9",
he a little
199.
more compact.
Then he ran on what
A
it was a
4.3.
4.36,
Yeah. I
and then it
once
was a wrap. I mean, you hit all kind of marks for me,
you're
and
right.
so
Right. So and that's when I said, okay, I probably gotta put him at RB2. As much as I was like, because I didn't hate him. I just thought he was smaller. I thought he was more slim. And I said if he runs a 4.3, I can forgive all of that. Right. Because like I said before, you can't be super small and slow. Right. It's just is you know what I mean? So once he kind of checked the BMI box and then checked the speed box, I'm like, okay, well he's got to he's legit, right? We gotta move him up, right? Can't move him past Bijan, but we gotta move him up. And
and he
then
probably
that,
cost me like $500 tay. I put a little parlay on the times, and like I I
mm,
I know better. I put it on four different players, and it was like you could do the 4 for 4 or you could do the 3 for 4. I'm like, I'll do the 3 for 4 because I know not gonna get all these players right. And this
mm-hmm,
dude, the first run, he didn't make it. I was like, yeah. Second
yeah,
run,
I
he
think it was like
blazed it.
four,
I was like,
four,
oh, you
five or
son of a
something.
gun.
It
Cost
was
me like
crazy.
five hundred dollars.
I think the first one was like 4.45 or something like that, and then the next one was like 4.34 or
I
something
was like,
crazy. I'm
what?
like,
Where this
what
come
the
from?
hell? Right. Yeah, man. So and I hate to kind of put you on the spot with this, and we can like, kind of skip this question if because I'm not prepared for the question either, but what would have been the perfect landing spots for guys, right? So the Detroit landing with that, there's not a landing spot Bijan could have went to where I would have felt bad about it.
No,
Right,
no.
so we're gonna throw Bijan out there. Out now, Detroit ended up being a good landing spot because they shipped
It was
Swift
only like
away.
two landing spots for Gibbs, and we didn't know that Detroit was gonna be the landing spot.
Right,
Like we didn't even think
right.
about that, but it was Detroit and Miami. That's it.
So after Charbonnet, right? That's your RB3. Do you who's your RB like
That's
four or
what I was
five,
gonna ask you.
whatever?
Who was your RB4 pre-draft?
Let me pull it up.
And let me
Maintain a little
and this
consistency.
another one that broke my heart too.
Well, you said pre-draft, right?
Yeah, pre-draft, pre-draft.
But I got a post-combine one.
Oh
That's
man, I
pre-draft.
don't even remember who I had post combine because
Look,
I
I don't know
think
if you can see it. I'm just read it to you. I just want to see if you
yeah,
can see
yeah,
it. No,
because
you
you
can't see it.
disappeared all of a sudden.
Right. Uh, ooh. So yeah, Charbonnet was RB2. This is all pre whatever, right? Kendra Miller.
So that means he
Kendra
should be.
Miller.
But I don't know. Was he still lit after the combine? Because he ain't do nothing.
Right. No, he's still there, but that's the argument is okay, do we put him ahead of Charbonnet now? Because best case scenario for let's say best case scenario for Kenneth Walker and best case scenario for Charbonnet.
You talking about post draft? I'm talking about pre combine. Did you keep him where he was after the combine because he didn't do anything?
No, I love Kendra. I
Okay,
love Kendra.
I was never
So
high on Kendra. I was never high on Kendra.
what I like to do, and I got my rookie list is probably as long as yours, and I can share it with you. But what I like to do, I follow high school recruiting,
Oh
right?
no,
And
I haven't got there yet. I, but you know what's getting me there because I am
Debbie,
in like three
Debbie.
C2C leagues. I got
Oh,
in the
okay.
campus the Cannon leagues last year. Jumped in it to force me to get on college
Hmm.
harder. That I'm trying to force myself into that.
So what happened is as I'm listening to these players, I want to be I want to get an idea of how these guys really run, right? So I'll look at their high school track times, and if it's a sub 11, right? If it's like a 10.5 in a 100-meter dash or a 10.8 in a 100-meter dash, for a dude that's 220 pounds, right? The Kendra Miller is almost 220. If he runs a sub 11 in a 100-meter dash when he's not even 17 years old,
I didn't
it's
have
fast.
where you found the track time on the map. I didn't have any time.
Right.
What site you look for? What site you was
And
on?
you could just Google it. You could so I go to 247 and it shows me his
That's why I'm
hometown.
using that. I don't think he had one on there.
No, it's not on there a lot of the time unless it's like ridiculously blazing and like Olympic time. They'll put it there if it's notable. But what I'll do is I'll go to 247 and I'll see the city he's from, right, or the state he's from, and then I'll put the year, like his junior year, right, his junior year in high school. So I'll Google the name, the year, right, his junior year, and track 100-meter, and it'll
Okay.
be and it's like two or three
And
websites.
what he
Oh, but
ran?
no, but you got to put the state. You got to put the state too.
What he ran?
So I don't know what he ran. I don't know what he ran by heart now, but what I look for is if it's a sub 11, right? If it's less than 11 seconds, then I'll put a bold, like there's regular font and then there's bold. If you got bold, if your name is in bold, that means you're fast. You had a verified track time in mind. So I left him there because he had the size, he has the athleticism, he had the production, he was active in the passing game. Like all these are all the boxes that I'm looking for to be checked, right? So once and then so once he landed in that situation with the Saints, it's like I don't love it for year one, but I hate it less than I did for the running backs that came after him.
Mm-mm-mm.
So
Yeah,
that's why
I
he's still
think
there.
I would have to find out where I had him because I think I had him running back 8. Like I
Ugh.
just when I don't have any kind of athletic testing on somebody,
Mm.
like I said, you gave me something new to do. So,
Hmm.
that's what's up. I don't I can't I just can't put a player that high. I try
Yeah, I
not
get it.
I really, I try not to, and that's why I'm not high on Dalton Kincaid, like because
Me
I
either.
don't have any athleticism on him. The man been hurt, saying he been hurt since on his last college game, haven't done nothing, nothing. You know, I'm like I can't do it. Because I need even more than any other position athletic testing on tight end for me to give him a grade, a prospect grade.
Right.
And when you don't have nothing, I can't go up nothing with him. Now I might could find something where he did like maybe a in game on miles per hour, but I haven't, I haven't been on that. Like I haven't started putting that in no prospect model yet. So
Hmm. So I think I might be the lowest on Kincaid. And I was looking at the show sheet.
you
I said,
sure? You sure? I had him at tight end 7. You lower than that.
nah, I think I think you're doing too much. You're tight at seven. I'll be honest with you.
Tight end 7. You
Because
heard me.
the thing is, we can find so many profiles like his that that are good players, that are good fantasy football players. Um, but that's the thing. Like, there's so many profiles like his. Like, there's not a lot of differentiation, and and one of those differentiators is either size or athleticism or yards after catch or something like that, right? And I think he's probably one of the best pass catching backs. I mean, tight ends, but he's just like, I don't think he's the athlete. I just don't think he's the athlete that other people think he is. And
Well,
I
we don't
guarantee
know. That's
you,
the problem. We
but we
don't
do,
know.
but we do, because like see, this is why I get a lot of shit from folks because I watch the games. Like a lot of you'd be surprised how many like how many folks in the fantasy football community do not watch the games. And I get it,
Oh,
like you can't watch all these
I look at
players.
some highlights. I ain't watching the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I get it. You can't
And
watch
then
all the
guess
games.
what? When anytime I had anything to say about Kincaid, they was like, "Go watch this one game. This says it all." I'm like, why would I need to watch this one game?
No,
You
no, no.
know,
You do
obviously
need
he
to
was
watch that
hot that
USC game.
game.
No, you need to watch that USC game. I guarantee you that's the game they talk about. You
Oh
do
yeah,
need
I
to watch that.
know because I
Yeah,
saw the
though.
stats. I saw
Yeah,
the
nah.
stats. It was incredible.
Yeah, and it's no, but he was like it was Kincaid versus Caleb Williams, right? Like that. This is I'm putting up these points. I'm not a quarterback. I'm not even a receiver. I'm putting up these points, and y'all can't stop me. It was incredible. Like I give him that. I can't take nothing away from him when it comes to that. And if you getting to have Michael Mayer in a draft class, he'd probably be tight end one for most, right? But my favorite tight end in this class is Darnell Washington. And there's two
That's
things.
even now, even after the draft.
Well, yeah, right. Because what are these rookie tight ends gonna do for you on their first contract? We can go down the list of
Oh,
the best.
I
Let's
put
look
my
at the
money
best
on
tight ends.
Musgrave. That's where my money at.
Ooh,
That's where
I
my
don't know. I
money at.
just
Musgrave.
he don't strike me as a. I'm
No,
gonna get
but
killed for
here's the
this if
thing.
anybody see this. I'm gonna get killed for
Like
this if
like
anybody see this. You don't strike me as a football player.
even though we jumping, because one of the questions was who's your favorite tight end, and that we jump
Right.
into this question.
My bad. My bad.
My favorite tight end would be Mayer because it's safe.
Yeah.
I feel it's safe. He's gonna get the time. I know he's gonna start, he's gonna produce. Is
Right.
he gonna hit a high ceiling? No, but he's the safest tight end to me.
Mayer
If
might
I
have
had
the best
money to
career.
bet who's gonna be the tight end we talking about in 10 years,
Boom.
I
That's it right there.
with my model is Musgrave. I
Ooh.
loved Darnell Washington, but I don't know if they're drafting him to be a receiving tight end. I don't know.
I
They
don't know
probably
either.
Fairmute is pretty good. They're probably going to re-sign him.
Yeah.
That is a
So that's
problem. Him being
that's the thing.
behind him is a problem.
See, that's the thing. I think I don't know if they're gonna. So the one of when I'm talking to people about dynasty and redraft and like what's the difference and the things that they gotta pay attention to, other than the age, is contracts. And I think Firemuth's contract is up, not at the end of this year, but at the end of next year. And what's one of the reasons why the people that are shy or shy away from Tua, the reason that they're shy away from Tua is because there's concussions, right? Like if you get a bad hit, you could be out a game. You get a real bad hit, you could be out several games because the NFL is really cracking down on that the concussion protocol, right? Well, we're not talking about that with Fryermuth. He gets concussions like at a ridiculous rate. He's always getting hit. So I think that the Steelers spent that that day two capital on Darnell Washington because they want a concession if they don't resign a guy because his concussions, right? Now and that because I'm thinking, what is this when it comes to tight ends? These guys are rookies are typically never really worth anything in fantasy as rookies, typically. So I'm thinking like, okay, well, what does their year three outlook look like? And if Firemouth isn't there, I think Darnell Washington could score more points than all of these guys.
Hold up, he
And if
only
not,
had one concussion last year, man.
nah, he's no throughout his career.
Oh, I see. He had two in 2021 and one in 22.
So that's three concussions in 2 years.
Yeah, better than Tua.
Yes, yes, better than Tua for sure. But it's still scary. And the thing is like we like there's a human element to this, right? And a lot of times those are the guys that are making the decisions, like the GMs and the coaching staff, right? Like how did we feel? How do we feel when Ramondre Stevenson dropped these passes? Or how did we feel when we couldn't get Freiermuth to play because he had these concussions? Like when you get that feeling of uncertainty, you try to insulate yourself from the risk that comes with that uncertainty. And I think it's smart for a team to do that if they don't like overcompensate. But if I'm looking at a year three outlook, if Freiermuth isn't resigned, let's say all these guys are starters in year three. Because if we're looking at upside, we have to look at best case scenario. Let's say all these guys are starters in year three. With Darnell Washington's talent, size, athleticism, there's no reason why he can't outscore these guys. And if you look at his situation, if Kenny Pickett,
I ain't mad at. I really liked him pre-draft. Like I said, I really liked him. I felt like he might have had the highest ceiling. And I
Mhm.
said, but the only person I thought may have a higher ceiling was if Elijah Higgins was to become a tight end and he was drafted as one. So
Mm,
he's probably the highest to me who would have the highest ceiling. The one I'm confident on is Mayer and Musgrave.
yeah.
Musgrave just need to stay healthy because
I don't
they
see the
drafted
Musgrave. Explain the
drafted
Musgrave
Kraft
love to me.
around later. So if he's not healthy, believe they don't mind passing up on him, just like they did with Kohler in Ravens. Oh, you go get it? Oh you out on injury? Okay, let's bring the next man. And likely,
Nah,
come
he was
on.
a dog though. He was a dog from the get go. Like he's
Yeah,
been a dog likely.
Kohler was good too. Kohler was
Cola, I
good too.
still have him. I'm trying to get him on all my teams. Cola is
You
good.
can
I
have
like
him
Cola.
because guess what? I don't got time for that. I don't got time for it. He gonna
But
get
I
dropped
wanna
on the teams that got him.
it helped me understand your love for Musgrave because I think Tucker Craft is going to beat him. You mentioned Kolar, but you didn't mention Mark Andrews, who was drafted in round three
Well,
when
I
that same
mean, Mark
team
Andrews
drafted
is
Hayden
muscle.
Hurst. Yeah, but that same team drafted Hayden Hurst in round one,
Oh
right?
yeah,
In the
I
same
remember.
class. So
But that's what I'm saying.
why can't
If
Tucker Craft beat out Musgrave?
you do know what school this man go to. Don't act like the man was playing D1 football. Come on now. Don't
Uh,
get crazy. Don't get
yeah,
crazy. The
wait,
man doesn't play D1 football. Stop it.
wait. I'm sorry. When did Oregon State become this national powerhouse?
I'm just saying. The man not playing D1 football.
It don't matter. Can you
It don't
ball?
matter. So now
Can you
D1
ball?
don't matter.
If you here's the thing.
Not even
If you
D1.
didn't produce,
Like
hold on. If you didn't produce in D1, I'm not giving you. I'm not excited to put you over a guy who did produce in D2. You think what I'm saying? Like I could see if you produced in D1, but if you didn't, then what we talking about? We just going off your size and athleticism?
That's the thing is it's such a weird formula when it comes to tight ends because you're going off of offense. A lot of them coming from offenses that wasn't doing anything. It's
Right.
just a weird formula. And for my, and like I said, Musgrave meet my formula for. He's the only tight end that meets my formula for being the safest, being a hit. Now the one with, like I said, the one with the ceiling that he meet my formula, and that's Higgins. You know, so
So I want you to clip this. Tucker Craft is going to be Green Bay Packers long term starter. Quote that.
I mean, you could put
Quote
it
that.
on Twitter, and we can go ahead and revisit it. You let me know when you want to go back and revisit it. 2 years,
Yeah,
3 years,
I'm gonna
because
put
our
it in my
last
calendar
argument I
right
put
now.
in our calendar. We're gonna revisit that after the season is over.
Dude,
Oh,
it's
that's what I'm doing
ridiculous.
now. You might as well turn my page to fantasy receipts. I'm coming back on everybody that has something to say.
No, you
I
should.
just put
You
it in my
should.
calendar.
I do it too. Dude, like if I was to search the word wager in my calendar, it'd be embarrassing. Because it's because it's because I'm petty. That's really what it comes down to. Like,
You already know it come from. I don't even know what college. Like I got this dude
North
college
Dakota State,
affiliated. I don't even know what college that is. Tucker Craft
North
come
Dakota
from.
State, North Dakota State.
I thought it was South Dakota State.
I'm
Is it
almost
north?
positive.
Is it north or
I
south?
could be wrong.
Wow,
I
I
could be
got
wrong.
south. I got an S. Let's see. Maybe I'm wrong. No,
Hold
it's
on,
South
let's see.
Dakota State, so I'm not wrong.
Right. Who went
But
to North Dakota State?
I didn't. And I ain't gonna lie. It's not like none of these people films stood out. Like the ones film that I like. I like Laporter. I like Kincaid. I like Mayer. I like Washington. Like I said, I was a big Washington fan. And then he didn't. I wanted him to get second round draft capital. He got third round draft capital, and I'm hearing the stuff about him
His
being
knees.
him having some kind of injury that he can't practice like multiple days in a row or something like that. Hearing stuff like that,
Yeah, I don't care.
so that worries me.
Some stuff like we shouldn't care about. Like the Tajay Spears thing, like him missing the
Yeah, I,
ACL.
I don't understand why they care about it. Well, for me,
I
I'm
don't
like,
care.
okay, I was only going to use it for 3 years anyway. So if he won't be
Exactly.
in the league 3 years, that's all I'm using it for.
Right. Exactly. Like I don't care. Like if you're telling me that a guy had a this is not something new, right? Like this isn't something that he developed after his last year and into the combine or anything. Like this is something he's been having. Like if he missing the ACL and had the season he just had, he's found a way to produce with this quote unquote ailment. So I don't care. And then when a team who has better medical doctors than the ones I have, access to, when their
I say
doctors
in the third
say,
round.
right, like if they give you the go ahead to do it, then why do I care?
Higher than most people beloved Roshan Johnson.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I came around on Roshan.
Oh.
I came
You
around
like
on
that size?
Roshan.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I do like the size.
I kind of came around because I think, like I said, I'm not 100% sure because I believe in Herbert, but Roshan is a replacement. He damn near a damn on clone of old boy who left.
Montgomery.
What's the dude that left? Montgomery.
Montgomery, yeah.
Montgomery had the highest on elusive rating. When
Yeah.
when he came out, and Rashawn has the highest elusive rating. I was like, okay, is he just going over there to replace Montgomery? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it happening, man, but I just
Oh yeah,
don't.
we can see it happening.
I'm just look, but I'm not. I don't think it's as likely as other people make it seem, right? I think the community, a large portion of the community, not consensus, but a large portion of the community believes that Roshan is the best running back in that backfield, and I don't believe that. Right? I think Donta Foreman is the best pure running back in that backfield, like today. Right?
How old is
Um,
Dante Foreman?
he like 27. I want to say he's 27. Um, but he hasn't gotten a lot of work. Right?
Well,
He's been
you
on.
got to be healthy to get to work.
Yes, right, but it's not like he has a lot of tread on the tires. That's what I'm saying. And he's been healthy these past years, and when he's come in, he looks good. I think he's legitimately the best running back on the field. So I think that's going to. I can get behind like a two-man backfield, right, where one running back is spelling the other, or they're splitting workloads, or there's a passing downs back and it's the goal line back. I can get behind that because that's a predictable
So you think
thing for
Herbert
me.
gonna be the third man out? He gonna be the man out.
Yeah, that's a long way. I said the
I
long way
can't
of that. You can't see it?
see that.
Wait.
I can't
So
see
do
that.
you
How well
hit
he played last year? They nah, he gonna push you to the side. You gonna be the
did he
one
play
pushed to the
well?
side.
Did he play well? So here's
When
the
he came
thing.
in.
This no, but yeah, but it was when Montgomery was handling the workload. Like it's and it's hard for me to explain to people. Well, you from Texas, right?
No, I'm not from Texas, but I've
Okay.
been here.
I just think everyone that's from Texas has to play tackle football. But like there's a when I'm trying to explain to people who've never played tackle football or organized tackle football, even at the high school level, they look at me like I'm crazy. But there's a certain type of like psychological advantage you have when you're the backup running back, right? Because when the starter comes out the game, the defense takes a little. All right, it's just the backup in right now. You can take advantage of that, and but when you're the only running back, right, you have to shoulder the entire workload. We get an opportunity to see how special you really are, right? And there's very few backs that have proved that they're that special. And Tony Pollard, he's one of them, right? It's like he performs well when he was playing with Zeke, and Zeke was getting majority of the workload. And then when Zeke is hurt, he still performs well. He's special, right? A special back will do that. Khalil Herbert, he performs well when Montgomery is shouldering the workload, getting the defense tired, right? Taking on all the shots and all the punishment and all of that. And then he comes in and cleans up. But then when Montgomery is out, Herbert is like very underwhelming, right? Like when you look at the games that Herbert does, like these most amazing runs and plays, it's always the games that
I don't
Montgomery is
know,
in.
man. The game that Montgomery got hurt, third game,
Not the
he
game he got hurt. Look at the game he
Montgomery
missed.
got hurt, and Herbert put up 30 fantasy points.
Okay, the game that he missed, not the game he got hurt.
No, he
Right?
played
Let's say,
against Houston. He took 3 carries, only got 1.1 fantasy points, and Herbert put up 30 points.
and what happened the next game?
Next game, let's see. I should have doubled this.
Because we can't look at one. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how many starts he actually got. Um, week 4, he put up 11. Week 7 and 8, he put up 15. I wanted to see did Montgomery play those games. 7 and 8. Yeah, Montgomery did. No, how many carries? Oh, 15. I guess they'll split the backfield. Yeah, he did better than Montgomery those 2 games. What, Montgomery's hurt or something? He put up more points than Montgomery week 7 and 8.
But that's my point, right? Like
Montgomery didn't have a good season at
when
all.
Montgomery is playing, this guy looks like a superstar. But when he has to actually shoulder the workload, it doesn't look. He don't look as special.
I know looking at this, the man what did he only had 3 games where he had more than 15 carries. And when he got 16 carries, he put up 15.9 points. When he had 19, he put up the 11 game. When he had 20, he put up 30. So
Hmm.
And if I'm not mistaken, the year before that, he did even better. If I'm not mistaken, so he had 4 games his rookie year when he had more than 15 carries. Matter of fact, these are the only 4 games he had more than 5 carries. In week 5, he had 18. He put up 7.5. Didn't do nothing. Week 6, 19. Put up 19 points. Week 7, he had 18 carries. Put up 18 points. And then week 8, he had 23 carries, and San Fran shut his ass down. He only put up 8.8 points. So
Right.
decent. I
And
don't
I
I don't
was
see
even,
Rashawn doing any
but
Rashawn
you see
Johnson
how
doing
average
any
when you go through it like that, you see how like that's pretty. That's nothing. Like Roshan Johnson should be able
But you
to
know,
perform that.
don't act like you don't know how trash the Bears line is. Don't act like you don't know how trash the Bears line is.
I don't. I
Don't act
mean,
like that.
I'm trying to figure
You
out
know, you
like,
know the Bears drafted this man because in college he was able to produce with a trash line, offensive line. And it was like, you're gonna be fine over here. You're gonna be fine over here. You able to produce with a trash ass line in college, so we know you're gonna make it over here. And that's why they
right?
drafted that guy.
Probably. I mean, that's not a bad strategy. I just I traded Khalil Herbert. I'm doing a rebuild right now.
No, I'm
I
not mad
dropped
at
it.
that. I
I
don't want
traded
any
him for
running
two
backs that I'm not
thirds.
sure are gonna get the starting job.
Mm. I'm okay. I'm okay taking a handcuff. Right. If I know you got the number two spot, or I have faith in your talent for you to get the number two spot, then I'll be interested. But that's like round 20. You know. Um.
But guess who you should be getting for the low? Foreman. You should be getting all kind of Foreman shares. 4th round pick.
So you agree that Donta Foreman is probably the best running back in that backfield?
I don't know. I'm just saying, if you feel that strongly, you can buy in with low draft cap. You could just throw a 4th rounder, which is nothing, and get a lot of shares of them. I'm saying if you feel that strongly about them, and
Yeah,
and
that's
that's
true.
how I believe in playing fantasy. If you feel strongly about something, go all in and monopolize that player in all your leagues. That way, when you right, you hitting all cylinders. Now, when you wrong, you go humble your ass. It's simple to me. I love it.
Yeah. That's hilarious. I mean, I want to say I agree. I just I just don't like I just don't like doing that with 80%. You know what I mean?
What is fourth is a cheap player. Yeah, I can understand if it's a high draft capital
All
player,
right.
but who cares if you're giving away your 4th round player? I mean, your fourth
Okay.
fourth round for a player. Who cares? That's what is that? That's what do we call that? You playing Russian
Opportunity
roulette
cost.
with them players when you draft them anyway in the 4th round anyway. So, oh
Right, 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 right. I agree. I agree.
yeah, it's just dynasty theory. That's all. I mean, I like to do things like that, but
But would you, if you had Foreman and someone wanted to give you a fourth round pick for him, would you take that?
me, I'm not taking it.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I'm not
we
taking
have
it.
these theories, but we don't
You
necessarily
you
be.
you totally right. You're totally right. But you could give a 4th rounder with another backup player, and
Hmm.
depending on who that is, then I'll take it. I don't care
Right.
about 4th rounder, but there's a lot of people that, especially rebuilders, that just be wanting to get out. I
Yeah.
mean, a third rounder. Let's be honest, a third rounder is kind of the same. I just I just would rather move a 3rd rounder mid-season. That's when I move my 3rd rounder to get like a starting backup running back or something that's starting or something like
Hmm.
that. Will start a few games. That's when I like to move my 3rd rounder. I don't like to move my 3rd round in the offseason. My 4th round, I don't give a shit about a 4th round ever. I move a 4th rounder. I throw that on any deal. Don't give a shit about it. But say I don't care about a 3rd rounder either. I just want to move that mid-season to make something happen.
All right, so tell me this. We again, I'm a confront you on all these theories, and this is good for conversation, and I think you can handle it. So
And
that's why
I
I'm
and
doing
I knew you was the person
it.
that could bring out any conversation. So let's go.
Did Were there any fourth rounders that you liked this year?
Yeah,
That's my point. So
yeah.
we and there's a few that I like, right?
This
And so
year,
I'm just like,
this is
yeah,
first
this
year though. This is probably the first year that fourth round. I wish I had more fourth round picks. This is the first year this ever happened because there's never been a enriched running back class like this.
it's the running backs, right? It's the running backs. And I see Zach Evans where he could be RB2 in St. Louis. I'm just like, why not? You know, there was so many guys like Keyshawn Butte. I don't know if he says his name Butte or
It's booty.
Butte or is
It's
Booty.
booty.
Yo,
Since you skipping around, what
when
is
you throw
up
your
with your
accent,
undying love for Kayshawn booty? What's up with your? I know. Us as black men love the booty, but this is a different kind of booty you have a love for.
Keyshawn, man, that's the thing.